Give us 3 pieces of advice for someone who wants to be a comedian, who's out there hustling, trying to do what you're doing.
I would say perform as much as possible, like every venue, every show. I mean, I've performed at laundromats, bowling alleys, private events for 7 people in a living room. I've done so many shows, and you think these shows are the biggest waste of your time. They probably don't pay anything. You probably get 1 laugh out of, possibly 30-minute long show. All of that failure prepares you for what could happen to you on stage at any moment. That's why I would think, if I had to assume why I'm good at crowd work, it's because I've had to adjust in so many different circumstances in different shows throughout my life that were absolutely terrible, that I was like, this drunk dude at the bar is gonna ruin this show for me right now if I don't address it and come back with something witty and funny. So now I think it just sharpened that skill, I think. So do the terrible jobs, and the negative will become your tools. So perform as much as possible, write as much as possible. It's hard, it's so hard. Even I'm not as disciplined as a writer as I would like to be. But I believe it was Don D.C. Curry, who's very famous, very successful, great comedian. When I was about 16 or 17, I was opening for him at the Cleveland Improv, actually. And he gave me 2 really good pieces of advice about stand-up. One about writing, one was performance-based. Writing, he said, try to write 5 new minutes a day. Even if it's terrible, even if they're not good jokes at all. Because if you get 1 minute out of the week that actually works, that's 52 new minutes for the year. If you can come up with a new hour every year, that's the goal. It should be the goal of every stand-up comedian, is to write a new hour every year. And if you write 1 minute a week, that sounds so easy. You basically have a whole new hour right there. And the other thing, performance-based, was be okay with silence. This goes for you too, audience. My audience is so rambunctious. They think if it's silent for a second, they have to whoop and woo and holler and all that. Silence is so wonderful in comedy. And I didn't know that. The same night he gave me that advice, D.C. Curry is a storyteller. And sometimes his stories are 10 minutes long, and there's not a single laughter for those first 9 minutes. Until the 10th minute, boom, giant punchline, uproarious laughter. And I remember being so naive, I asked him backstage, I was like, oh man, great show. Like what? I was talking about one joke in specific, and I was like, is it weird that like you're bombing for the first like 9 minutes of your story? And he just started laughing, and he was like, it's not bombing if you have silence. Bombing is when they start booing you. Bombing is when they start talking amongst each other, because silence is the most powerful thing to have, because you have everyone's attention. They are giving you the opportunity to win them over. And you have your draw 4 coming. They just have to wait for it. So be okay with silence. Building that silence is so powerful. Learn to control that. Comedy is a bit like an orchestra. Like, you do have to conduct people to the flow of the material you want to talk about. So just, be present, be mindful of the energy in the room, be okay with silence, write as much as possible, perform as much as possible.